Good afternoon, dear colleagues, and I give the floor to the Presidential Administration spokesman on the ATO issues, Colonel Andriy Lysenko. Good afternoon, dear colleagues, and the main events in the ATO area during the last 24 hours are to your attention. In Lugansk area, the day was calm. There were no enemy provocation. And the situation is tense in the Donetsk area. There, the militants used armored vehicles and small arms near Krasnogorovka. And in the region of Donetsk airport, near Pisky village and Opetne village, the military formations used 82mm mortars and violated Minsk agreement and conditions of withdrawal of weapons of less than 100mm of caliber. Near Avdiivka and Pisky, the militants delivered non-precision fire and used small arms, grenade launchers, and large caliber machine guns near Novgorodsk, and they fired twice, one mine of 82mm. They used a 22mm mortar, trying to provoke Ukrainian servicemen to fire in return. Prohibited by peace agreement, 82mm mortars and armored vehicles were observed near Gorlovka. The militants fired at our positions near Mayorsk and Zaitsevo. And one more provocation from RPC was observed near Lugansk village. The militants used small arms, grenade launchers, large caliber machine guns, but they delivered non-precision fire, and they were of provocative character. In Mariupol's area, there were some military clashes, so the ATO forces successfully repelled the attack of the enemy and didn't have any losses. And in Shirokina, near Shirokina, one precision firing incident was observed. During the last 24 hours, one Ukrainian serviceman was killed and 3 were wounded. According to Ukrainian intelligence service, the militants placed tanks, self-propelled artillery systems of 100mm of caliber and Grad rocket systems near Donetsk, Komsomolska, Patriotichna, Stakhanov, and Staromikhailivka village. And this information is handed over to the SMM OSCE observers. And also the intelligence service provides data on rotation of Russian officers who coordinate the activities of the militants. One of them is the head of the staff of the 5th Detached Motorized Brigade, Colonel Kolosov, and commander of the 2nd of Motorized Brigade of 11th Detached Motorized Brigade, Mamayev. And they also continue to quarrel and among the militants quarrel among themselves, and they rob and steal the constructions of the Donetsk airport, and this led to clashes with local militants from a so-called military prosecutor's office, and this led to losses from both sides. And according to the intelligence service, Russian should be continue to support the militants and those forces who occupied Ukrainian territories. And they expect Mikhail Parechenkov in the area, and he fired at Ukrainian positions during the fight for the Donetsk airport. Ukrainian servicemen help civilians, and they help them to prepare for New Year holidays, and they work in the Mariupol area. They visited kindergarten in Donetsk Oblast.
The soldiers brought the good mood as well as toys, sweets, books, paints, and albums. In Donetsk region, the Security Service of Ukraine detained 3 militants of the so-called DPR. One of them was in Kramatorsk, where he was a member of illegal military formation. During the search, the offender had 3 guns, cartridges, and spare parts for guns. They were seized from him. The other militant was detained in Slavyansk. He had an ID certificate of legal military formation. It was found in a cache the day before. It was found that he joined the illegal military formation as soon as Slavyansk was occupied. His nickname was the Beard. He was on duty at checkpoints. First, he was on duty at the checkpoints of DPR, but he was not paid the promised remuneration and he fled to Donetsk. Now we can listen to his confession by video. I worked at the construction site in Donetsk and I had phone talks with my friends who were at the territory of controlled by Ukrainian government, and my friends informed me of the movements of Ukrainian vehicles and troops. I reported this information to my girlfriend, and my girlfriend also informed me of various movements. I am very I would like to confess that I was a militant. Now I'm ashamed of this fact. One more man abandoned the ranks of LPR, illegal military formation, and returned to the territory controlled by Ukrainian government in the framework of Security Service of Ukraine program called "We Are Waiting for You at Home." When Lugansk was occupied, the man joined the legal military formation. Later on, he became disenchanted. He didn't receive salary, and the criminals were appointed to the leading positions in LPR. And at the same time, he was always threatened with punishment. Now he can be relieved from criminal liability if he cooperates with the Ukrainian law enforcement officers. Now in Donetsk region, the law enforcement officers found one more cache with 50 kilos of TNT and 2 grenades. It was near Mirolubivka in Krasnoarmysk district of Donetsk region. Ukrainian volunteers donated a modern navigation and direction finding radar to frigate Hetman Sagaidachny of the Naval Forces of Ukraine. It expands the capabilities of the ship and increases capabilities to find targets and to classify them, as well as navigation security. Ukrainian soldiers are returning home after the service in the ATO zone. Yesterday, 13 soldiers returned to Lvov after they were maintaining the order in the ranks of law enforcement officers of Ukraine in the east of the country. The president of Ukraine, Petro Poroshenko, awarded state decorations to Ukrainian servicemen. Due to the Day of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, 77 Ukrainian servicemen were awarded state decorations. Among them, 13 Ukrainian servicemen who were awarded Bogdan Khmelnytsky orders. And finally, I would like to greet all Ukrainian patriots who have been helping our military servicemen, and I would like to greet them with the Day of Volunteers. The volunteers became helping our soldiers, bringing all the necessary equipment and standing shoulder to them to defend Ukraine in the armed forces of Ukraine, the National Guard, and volunteering battalions. The volunteers helped to supply the army, and now they are reforming our state, having such patriots, which number is growing every day. Ukraine will be able to restore territorial integrity and achieve peace. Thank you very much for your report. Are there any questions? There are no questions. Thank you, Mr. Lysenko. So that's the end of our working day. The information about tomorrow's briefings will be at our site after 4 o'clock p.m. Thank you.